Hey, what's up you guys, it's Caboose XBL bringing you another Batman Arkham Knight video, and today we're going to be talking about is the Arkham Knight's identity and my explanation as to why it ended up being who it ended up being. With that said, of course, if you don't know who the Arkham Knight is, I highly suggest you click off this video, go play the game, beat it, make sure you found everything out for yourself so you can see all the moments that this character has, even with his identity revealed, and then come back and watch my explanation as to why it ended up being who it ended up being. With that said, let's get on to my explanation of why the Arkham Knight ended up being none other than Jason Todd. That's right, Jason Todd was the Arkham Knight, or is the Arkham Knight, and this is something that pretty much everyone in the Arkham community saw coming. I've gone on Reddit, I've gone on the forums, and pretty much everyone, whether they liked it or not, said that, yeah, it was predictable. We all knew the Arkham Knight was going to end up being Jason Todd. But just like I mentioned, there are a lot of people in the community that are very, on different sides as to whether or not they liked the Arkham Knight being Jason Todd and whether or not they hated it. Some people just hate it because it was predictable, but in my opinion, it was predictable, but I enjoyed the way it was handled. As you know, Red Hood is one of my favorite Batman characters of all time. It's one of my favorite DC characters of all time. So this is a character that I kind of, I have a passion for. I really like the story that they've told with this character in the comics, in the animated movies, and everything like that. So when I found out that the Arkham Knight was Jason Todd, I really wanted to pay attention to every detail and everything that was going on with the storytelling so that I can understand what the motive was, what was different between this story and the Under the Red Hood, and everything like that. So obviously there's some things that you can notice right away immediately about Jason Todd that's completely different from his comic book counterpart. And one of the things you can notice is the branded J on his left cheek. Now this was something during the Death in the Family portions when you're at Panessa Studios, which gave away the fact that he was going to be the Arkham Knight. Because if you read the Death in the Family storyline, that never happens to Jason. Yes, he gets tortured. Yes, he gets killed. However, he never gets a J branded on his cheek. So when they were adding new elements to Jason Todd and his character and that story overall, I pretty much knew that there was no doubt in my mind that the Arkham Knight was going to be Jason Todd. And it was unfortunate that it was predictable, but there was no other way that I think Rocksteady could have handled this. I don't think there was another character that I would have liked to be under that mask except Jason. And here's why. Now they changed up the Under the Red Hood story. He doesn't die. Jason actually just gets tortured to the point where he's pretty much half dead. You can see that he gets shot in the Death in the Family portions at Panessa Studios. However, you can hear him mention multiple times, even having the Joker's hallucination mention, that he never killed Jason Todd. In fact, Jason was just tortured for over a year. And that's where one of two of his motives for hating Batman comes in. Number one, of course, being the fact that Batman never saved him and let him be tortured for over a year without pursuing him and trying to find out what happened, at least as far as we know. And number two, during the Death in the Family portions, you can see that Joker shows Jason a picture of Batman with Tim Drake Robin. This is, of course, mere months within Jason's torturing from Joker. So for Jason to see that Batman had already replaced him with a new Robin just shortly after Batman thinks that Jason is dead, you can clearly have some sort of motivation there to hate Batman. And I personally thought that was so twisted and wrong for Batman to do. However, I guess that's just the way the story was told, and it was very well told in that sense that it gave Jason a completely new motive, because of course we know in the Arkhamverse, the Joker is dead. So that original motive that he had to where the Joker is still alive and Batman didn't kill him after what he did to Jason, it's gone. That motive is no longer existent. They can't make that the motive. Even with Joker dead, Jason can't be like, well, you didn't kill him, so why not? They can't bring that motive in. So I enjoyed that they added new elements to the character and they added new emotion to him. Throughout this entire boss battle, as lackluster as it is, the dialogue is what I paid most attention to. You can hear it in his voice. As soon as the Arkham Knight helmet came off, it went from complete hatred, wanting Batman dead, to I'm just really freaking sad that you didn't save me, man. I thought I was like a son to you, and you weren't able to save me, and you replaced me, That was one of the most emotional moments for me, especially during the final cutscene after you beat Jason, and Batman reaches his hand out and he's like, listen, I screwed up. I'm sorry. You know, and that's the moment where Jason in his head, he's like, listen, maybe I made a mistake here. Maybe I shouldn't have hated Batman. Maybe I jumped the gun a little too quickly. I should have paid attention. I should have been more confrontational and not so angry. And that's why he runs off. And this is where I'm getting into why Jason becomes the Red Hood. Because that's something that I heard everyone complaining about is, well, why does he become the Red Hood? It doesn't really make much sense. Well, let's go back to why Batman became Batman. He was afraid of bats. That's really, I don't know if that's something that just the Dark Knight trilogy did, but I guess you can say that with the Red Hood, they've kind of borrowed from that, because you can clearly tell that he becomes Red Hood as a figment of what he feared most in his most feared time of his life, which was when the Joker was torturing him. And who was the Joker before he was the Joker? He was the Red Hood. So that's why I think Jason becomes Red Hood after he's done with this whole Arkham Knight identity. And I love how he appears at the end wearing the Batman insignia on his chest. And also, there's some very nice little subtle hints to him becoming Red Hood, because you can see the Red Hood symbol outside of the little place that you go into when you surrender to Scarecrow, and you can also see the Red Hood symbol on the floor in Panessa Studios after you've beaten the game. The only thing I didn't really like was that there wasn't enough of a confrontation, or enough closure at least, with Batman and Red Hood at the end of the game. He just kind of saved Batman from Scarecrow and got out of there. I wasn't a big fan of that. I really would have liked one last confrontation between the two, just to add some sort of closure. Maybe even Batman saying to Jason, like, you don't deserve to wear the bat symbol because you still murder people. That would have been nice little touch, like a little extra piece of dialogue to add some closure to everything that they went through, because there was this buildup of emotion and hatred and sadness, and then it kind of just left off with him saving Batman and leaving. So I wasn't necessarily a big fan of that, but overall I like his transformation into Red Hood, because it makes sense that he embodies his worst fear and kind of embraces that the same way Batman did. And it was just very well done and just nice storytelling and writing. This also does confirm that the Red Hood story pack takes place after Batman Arkham Knight's story. So that overall is my explanation as to why the Arkham Knight was Jason Todd, what the motive was, what the emotion was behind it, and why he ended up becoming Red Hood afterwards. Let me know what you guys thought of my explanation, and most of all, I want to hear what you guys think of the Arkham Knight and who he ended up being, and whether or not you liked it or not, and why in the comment section below. I'm CaboosXBL. Please follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and like me on Facebook. Those links are in the description. Like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. See you guys later.
You're Robin, Jason. You're not what he made you.
Stop! Stop talking to me! You did this to me.
I'm sorry.
You left me to rot in that abandoned wing of Arkham for over a year! With him.
It's not too late. We can fix this. Together. Alfred, I found Jason.
Excuse me, sir. I must have misheard you. For a moment, I thought you said that you'd found Master Todd.
You heard right.
My God, is he all right?
No. No, he's not.